Hi there. The topic for today is leave a legacy. And I have so much to talk about in this topic that I'm going to do part one today and then part two next week. And when I came to Norway the first time, around 14 years ago, there were many things that fascinated me about the Norwegian people. But one of the things was that Norwegians like to register things. For example, I went on a mountain trip. We went hiking and it was pouring down, which was fascinating too at that time. I didn't understand. Now I do. Anyway, we went up this mountain with a group of Norwegians, and when we came to the top, there was this huge pile of rocks, and then there was this stick with a mailbox hanging on it. And then the people I was with started gathering around this mailbox. They opened it and then they took out a plastic bag where there was a pen, and then there was this dirty, wrinkly notebook. And they opened it and they started writing down their names and the date for that day. And of course, it was also funny that they were like trying not to get this book wet and covering it, and then the pen didn't work, and they were like, "Argh." But in the end, everybody wrote their names. And I found that so cool. I was thinking, what do they do with these books when they're full? And I still haven't found out the answer to that question. So if you know that, please tell me. But I was thinking, is there some kind of museum for hikers where you can go there and then you see all these books, and then you can find your name where you wrote 20 years ago your name? It's like, I understand. There's something fascinating about this. It's like this weird pleasure of finding your name in this old book. Another thing that Norwegians do to register things is that they have these guest books in cabins. So when you go out and rent a cabin in a mountain, then you can write in a book about your experience there. You can draw something and then you write your names, and people can see this afterwards. And I think that is really cool. And we have adopted that at home. We have a guest book for people who stay here and sleep over. And for a while, we also had like a do book. It's a notebook where you have in your toilet, and people can sit in the toilet and write their thoughts and write messages to you. I know that for Brazilians, this sounds really crazy, but and maybe not very hygienic, but I find it really cool. So why am I saying this? I'm telling these things because we have a need to be remembered, and I think we all have a need to remember things. And we take pictures, we have journals, guest books, we keep letters, we keep objects to remember a vacation, a place, a person, or a special occasion. And God also talks about memorials. In the Bible, you're going to see many times that God says, build a memorial so you will remember what I've done for you. And not only to remember, but God also says, when your children ask you, what is this pile of rocks for? Then you can tell them about the things I have done for you. So God told people to build memorials because we forget, right? And when we forget, we worry, we complain because we don't remember last time when God was faithful and did something to us. And that's why it's so important to write things down or have ways of remembering things that He has done. But He also wants our children to learn through our experience. God wants our children to see who He is and His love and how He works in our lives. So one of my ways of building a memorial is to have a journal. So this is my journal, and I write on it every day, more or less. You can see there. I hope you can't see very much. But I write, like I always start with something I'm grateful for that day, and then I write down my thoughts, things that I feel God is telling me, things that I learn from the Bible, prayers, things that are happening, things that my kids did, all kinds of things. And it really helps me to organize my thoughts. When I'm very confused by something, I start writing, and then things start getting more clear. And I also process things better. And when things are hard, I can go back and see that, wow, but God was there then. And it helps me to be grateful, helps me to have hope for the time I'm going through right now. Yeah, and I even have a color code to find things better. And I know that you're thinking right now, wow, she is crazy. And I'm not telling you that you should do this. I'm just saying that I'm just sharing what I do, and then you can find your own way of registering things and remembering things and passing it on to your children. Another idea is to fill a bottle like this. You can do it together with your children, for example, and you can write down some stuff that you are grateful for. And then maybe you could have an activity in New Year's Eve where you and your family open the bottle, and then you go through the things that happened that year and things that you can be thankful for. So just another way. And another way of remembering things is by building traditions, which is something Norwegians are really good at, but I'm going to talk about this next week. My challenge for you today is to find your own way of remembering things and your own way of how you want to leave a legacy to your children and your grandchildren. Because I think that after managing to climb many mountains in our lives, we should try to take the time and register it. So have a great day.